Structuring the first event risk, client breach. Let us turn to the insertion of a stochastic structure for the 3 additional event risks added here to the short risk register. On cell K16, we will consider the highly unlikely event of the client breaching its contract. Recall that expert opinion has considered that there's only a 2% probability of such a breach. If it were to happen, the most likely damage would be for $10,000, ranging from a minimum of $5,000 to a maximum of $50,000. A Bernoulli distribution allows for binary scenarios. 33. Placed on cell K16, click on the Define Distribution icon and select out of the Discrete Distributions tab of a palette a Bernoulli distribution. 34. One single parameter is required for a Bernoulli distribution, that is P, the probability of the event happening. Click on the Assign Excel References as Arguments button, and from this small window, make an Excel reference to cell B16, which contains the 2% probability. 35. Click back on the upper right-hand corner icon of this window to return to the Bernoulli graph, which should now look like this. Slide the 2 vertical delivery lines to any place between the 0 and the 1, since by default they may remain at their percentile 5 and percentile 95 levels. This formula will generate either one of 2 binary outcomes contingent on the probabilistic value of the Bernoulli distribution, either a 0 or a 1. In other words, in approximately 98% of the probabilistic cases hinged on the Bernoulli distribution, it will generate a 0 since no event happens, whereas on 2% of the cases it will generate a number 1. However, this is yet the first part of the equation. 36. Edit the cell K16 in order to complete the rest of the equation by including its severity part. Equals risk Bernoulli, open parenthesis, B16, close parenthesis, times risk PERT, open parenthesis, G16, comma, F16, comma, H16, close parenthesis. If you were now to edit the cell with the Define Distribution at-risk icon, you can click on any one of the 2 at-risk sections of the formula, and the software will generate respective charts to either its binary frequency component, the Bernoulli distribution, or its severity component, the PERT distribution. At this point, this formula will generate either one of 2 PERTs contingent on the probabilistic value of the Bernoulli outcome, either a 0 or a 1. In other words, in approximately 98% of the probabilistic cases hinged on the Bernoulli distribution, it will generate a 0, since any PERT severity value multiplied by 0 would be 0. Whereas on 2% of the cases, it will generate the other PERT distribution for the client breaching its contract. As we mentioned before, we call these types of risks as single binary event risks. They represent a singular event that either occurs or not with a certain probability